G'day guys and welcome, my name's Michael and I am the Dead Aussie Gamer, here to share with you my tips, tricks, ideas and strategies for playing and running tabletop role-playing games. Today's video we're continuing our look at what to do when we're not having fun. But today we're going to be focusing on the Game Master. What do you do when you as a Game Master aren't having fun? Well, there's a number of ways we can go about it, and there's definitely a number of sources that can be the cause of it. So today's video is all about trying to explore that and see if we can at least either drive a second wind into your GMing experience, or perhaps guide you towards another table. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is, of course, what we consider to be the right table. Now, here's kind of my philosophy on the right table. The right table exists, but it's kind of like trying to find a unicorn. To find the right group of people that mesh with your style and mesh with each other, and you all happen to be in the same place, and you all know each other, and you're all available for the right schedule, the odds of that happening are quite astronomical, you know. There are definitely some lucky people out there who have the right table, and if you are one of those people, congratulations, I am super jealous. If you, however, are not, do not be on a quest to find the right table. I know that there are some GMs out there who will complain about players that they just don't get on with. Rules lawyers who constantly force rules down your throat. And of course, role players who need to find out the shoe size of every second or third NPC who tries to sell them a loaf of bread. You know, not that I even know what that's like, but yeah, you know. And these things can eventually wear down, whittle, and frustrate a game master to a point where they either need to step away from the table, take a brief hiatus from game mastering, or, I don't know, beat that person to death with a hammer. Whatever you happen to do. Now, here's my recommendation. A, set the right expectation. Don't look for the right table, but try to find those elements of the table that you have which you enjoy. The more you focus on that, the better the table becomes. And eventually, there is nothing that says that your style of game mastering will not nurture and create the right table. The second thing you could possibly do is bring in a fresh set of eyes. You know, I know multiple times I've had a table of people who I have been incredibly frustrated with. The table has really hindered my experience of whether I'm having fun with the game I'm running. But then I bring someone in. I bring a ringer in. Someone who I love to play with. Someone who just encourages me to be the best game master that I can be. And it changes the whole attitude. It changes the mood. And when my attitude improves as a game master, then the table's attitude improves. And it's just a snowball from there. Now, if you can't seem to find the right table and you can't seem to budge these people, well, sometimes the best place to be is at another table. Never be afraid to sort of bring this up and say, hey guys, look, this is just not working for me. I can't GM this group. And it's not a competence thing. It's a comfort thing. It's a fun thing. Remember, no GM is obliged to run a game unless you're paid, like I am. Then I am obliged. But if you're not in my situation, then no, you're never obliged, you know? Always remind people of that. Just say, hey, listen, look, I'm not having fun with this. I want to take a break. You know, somebody else GM for a while. Or, you know, if no one wants to GM, let's go play board games or watch a movie or go skateboarding. Do people do that now? Are people skateboarding? I don't know. I don't skateboard. But, you know, that's what you should be doing. You know, worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. All right. Second, and this is probably the thing that I know more about than any other person on this planet currently role-playing, and that is Burnout. Now, many of you know what my job is. I run games. That's all I do. I have no other job. I run anywhere between 7 to 15 games per week, and Burnout is real. It is a thing. It is every little tiny thing collects over time, gathers, builds, swells, and eventually fizzles out even the most fun and engaging games. I have run modules, for example, 7 times. I have run my own private games multiple times as well. I have run entirely unique games that I've improvised. But each and every one of them have one thing in common, and that is all of them have a commitment. All of them take up time for prep, time for sleep, time to go and do other things, time to reset and recharge. And eventually you just get to that point where you just run out of ideas. There's a creative block that just stops you from being able to make those things that made your games very special. And sometimes when we as GMs feel that way, it, burns us out. We just kind of go, well, I got nothing. My tank is empty. Now, there are lots of things you can do to avoid burnout. The best thing, and I'm not even joking, this has saved me countless times. The best thing you can find is a compliment from a player, a genuine and sincere appreciation of what you do. I'm not even joking. A long time ago, when I was first starting out running games for my local youth center, I was running 3 games a week. It wasn't that taxing, but there was still that level of burnout. I was running 3 different games every single week, and between that, the prep work, it was so tiring. I'd never done it before, and I didn't know what to do, especially playing with such young role players. They weren't savvy to a lot of the etiquette and a lot of the really cool and awesome fun techniques that we now know and guarantee you many do not appreciate. So I felt this huge burnout after my first year. But then I got this email. It was a wonderful email from one of my young people's parent who told me just how much what I was doing meant to their young person. How what I had been doing was changing them for the better, and that they were excited about something, and that they were really, really just getting out there and trying something that they were passionate about. Literally, anytime I feel burnout now, I go to that email. I read that email from top to bottom, and it goes away. I'm not even exaggerating. It is almost like a wash, and it's gone. Any burnout I have fades, and I just hit it back with a new sense of vigor. And this has worked for years for me. So, going back to it, this is more of a solution that the players can give their GMs. If your GM is burning out, compliment them. Give them something genuine. Show them that you appreciate what they do. You know how much I, as a GM, would appreciate somebody at one of my tables surprising me by arranging with the group and saying, hey, Mike, listen, today you're not running a game. Today, we've all decided that you get to play a short campaign that we've written for you, and you get to go and enjoy that. I mean, hell, it doesn't even have to be that grandiose. Michael, I bought you a cupcake. This is just because you're awesome, and we appreciate how much work you put into the games. Guarantee you burnout fades so damn quick. Now, that burnout can sometimes be responsible for writer's block, and, it's harder to get rid of that than it is to get rid of the burnout feeling. If you do find yourself in a writer's block scenario, all I can recommend is watch a ton of movies, read a bunch of books, whatever things charge your creative juices, do a bunch of that. In addition, going and speaking to people on the forums, speaking to people on Facebook, really starting to begin a dialogue between people, even myself. Hell, there's a Discord chat in the chat below. Talk to me, It's a great way to be able to start getting those creative ideas flowing again. And once they start flowing, they just keep flowing, So, yes, those are my 2 major things for burnouts. A, find that appreciation. And if you're a player, give that appreciation. My God, help your GMs. And 2, if you find that creative block, seek help. Find other people who can help recharge your batteries. Okay. Last and certainly not least, we are going to be talking about what I like to call Magpie Syndrome. Now, I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to heavily imply that there is an individual who I know in my life, who I roleplay with quite often, who is also a professional game master, who has what I like to call Magpie Syndrome. Magpie Syndrome is where we run games, and then we look at something new and we go, ooh, shiny. And then we start to want to play that, and we go, ooh, I'd love to do this. Ooh, this idea sounds really cool. Ooh, I want to play this now. Let's do this. Yeah. And if you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. I've seen it. It happens. My video game diary definitely can back that up. Anyway, I digress. Magpie Syndrome is a tricky thing to deal with, and it's not, ironically, about not having fun. It's about having more fun with other things. Because ideally, to a GM at least, fun is a quantitative thing. What could I be doing with the time slot that I am role-playing? Could I be role-playing and entertaining my friends? Do I have fun doing that? Maybe, maybe not. Am I simply running through the motions, and would I rather be playing on my PS4? Perhaps. Or maybe I would rather be playing this brand new adventure that Dungeons & Dragons has just released. Or maybe I'd like to be doing this other thing. Once we start comparing what we're doing to the other things that we could be doing, that's where Magpie Syndrome really thrives and comes in. Ironically, being a Pathfinder predominantly myself, Magpie Syndrome is a very heavy set of me as a player. Anytime a new book got released, I was all over it. I was like, man, I don't want to play my character anymore. I want to play this thing, or I want to play that. And it was ludicrous. It was absolutely ludicrous. But the feeling is hard to sway, because we like the new, we like the shiny, we like the fresh. It's why I think a lot of people start discussing things like, oh, what do you mean there's a new addition to something? I liked all the old stuff and now I have to go to the new edition. Well, you don't. This is a bit of the Magpie Syndrome coming out. To deal with it, here is my advice. Write your ideas down. Throw your passions into a tangible medium. At which point, it no longer lingers in the back of your mind while you're GMing. For me, I, for example, have a few characters who I enjoy playing, and every now and then when a new book comes out, as I mentioned, I get right into it. What I then do immediately is I build a character, and I throw it into a desk drawer, and that's it. I just leave it. It's now out of my head, and if ever I want to draw back on it, I'm like, cool, here's that character again. Getting those ideas, getting that new thing into a tangible form. Like, I've got this great idea for an adventure. It's tangible, Then I feel less inclined to pursue it. Because in a way, I've kind of received that catharsis from the new thing. I've achieved something with it. So it means that I've already begun progress, meaning that, well, I'm still having fun with what I'm doing, and I'm not just pining to play something new because it's new. I've already had my little go. So that's how I at least have dealt with Magpie Syndrome in my past. I think the only other thing I would suggest in terms of this is players, if you know that your GM is one of these people who does like changing systems a lot or likes changing campaigns, find a system that is going to complement that. Find a system that runs off one-shots, runs off simpler games, and even look at doing things like a DM round robin. Sometimes they can be a lot of fun too. Games like Call of Cthulhu, Through the Breach, stuff like that, they lend themselves to be able to function in insular, singular, or even short campaigns, which can definitely help with the Magpie Syndrome because you're constantly playing different games. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us and listening. I hope that this video helped you guys in some way. If you guys have struggled not having fun as a game master, please leave a message below. Let me know. I would love to chat with you and maybe see if I can get to the root of what might have been the problem if none of these help. And, of course, we do have a whole bunch of other places where you can come check out us and all of our other cool stuff in the links below. If you want to come chat with me directly, head on over to Discord. And if you want to support the Dead Aussie Gamer, then head on over to our Patreon page, where as little as a ham and cheese toasty a month, you can help us keep the lights on. Thank you again, guys. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, game hard or die trying. Bye, guys!